Today's session is about optimizing LinkedIn for your job search. So there's a lot to talk about for LinkedIn, but I won't bore you to death with all the things that you could be doing on your LinkedIn. There are many things, but I will tell you the 6 things that I think you should focus on to make your profile ready for review and viewing by those who will be interested in hiring you. So the first thing I would say is your headline. So normally when I look at corporate headlines and people who are in the corporate space, their headline usually says their job title. And I feel as if that's not relevant in the marketplace because job titles vary depending on the company. So what you really want to put in your headline is what you're known for. So what your real authority area is. So if it is a supply chain professional specializing in, 3PL or planning or whatever it is, but you should really state what your authority really is. Supply chain professional alone doesn't cut it because that's too broad, it's too generic. So you want to narrow it down to something very specific. Supply chain professional dash your area of specialization, finance professional, your area of specialization, etc. So your headline should be about your authority statement. It should already tell people what they should be coming to you for. You can put other things after that, right? So you can say, you can say the company you work for, you can say, you can add different titles after, but that first line of your headline is very important because it's the first line that people see when they're looking at your comments or looking at anything that you post, because it's the first line that comes up for them. So you really want to make that first line powerful and what you want to be known for. The second one is your About section. So this is a section that you can add to your LinkedIn profile if you haven't done it already. And that About section is effectively your new cover letter. So you have to think about LinkedIn as your professional storefront. So this is basically where people will first get to learn about what you have to offer. And that About section is where you make a communication about what you have to offer. So it is like your cover letter, but obviously you're not sending that cover letter to some specific company. So it is more about the normal type of role. Sorry, there was a notification on my screen. It's about the normal type of role that would hire you, right? So you need to think about them. So think about if you're in finance and you're normally hired by the CFO. Think about what's on the CFO's mind, what's most important for the CFO. And those things are what you need to start talking about when you put in that About section. The typical challenges, what the CFO wants to accomplish, what typically frustrates them, and how you, with your specific skill set, can address that need. So this is one of the ways that you could tackle that About section. It is like a cover letter, but you have to tailor it as much as possible, given the constraints that you have, which is that you don't know exactly the company that you want to work for, but if you have a range or type of companies that you want to work for, you could specialize and tailor that inside that About section. So don't make your About section, a couple of do's and don'ts. Don't make your About section completely about yourself. So you have to first go from the person who's reading it to then talk about you. So make a transition between the two. The next section is your features section. So this is another section that you have to add to your profile. So if you go to the menu on LinkedIn, there's an area where you can add things to your profile. You can add a features section to your profile. And this is where you can introduce external links or PDFs about work that you've done in the past, right? So this is another area where you can demonstrate the authority that you have on the platform from your previous work or from your current assignments. It can be even a space where you indicate other achievements that you've made, volunteering work that you've done, anything that you feel relevant to highlight for the future job search that you're doing. It all depends on how let's say, how good you are at authority building. So if you already write articles, for example, if you already have a blog that's relevant to the work that you're doing, this is a nice place to introduce it. Okay, so that's number 3. Number 4 is LinkedIn Learning. So I scoff and laugh a little bit because there are a lot of people who are going on LinkedIn Learning and, hey, I just finished this course, blah, 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 blah. You're really using LinkedIn Learning for two things. You want to get the language that's being used, or the current language that's being used around the roles that you're doing. So for example, things are obviously being changed and adapted by data, by remote working, by all the things that are changing, sustainability, etc. What you want to get from using LinkedIn Learning is the keywords that people are using nowadays to describe things, because they will be different in every company. So it'll be interesting to see how different people are expressing different things, and this helps you to augment your CV, augment your profile, etc., when you start picking up some of the newer keywords that are being used. So this is one of the things that I would use LinkedIn Learning for, even if you already know the topic. And the other one would be for things that you don't know, obviously. So it's very useful to have a demonstration, a public demonstration, that you are keeping your skills up to date on your LinkedIn profile. That's quite handy. I mean, if I was hiring, I would look for that. I would look to see if you're actually doing anything to advance yourself. So I think other hiring managers would as well. The other one, I'm going to skip all the skills and all the stuff that you normally have in your CV, because I think that that's over talked about. But I'm going to go straight to something that really makes a difference, and it is recommendations. So at the bottom of your LinkedIn profile, there's a space for you to either give recommendations or receive them. And I will antithetically tell you that you should give them, right? You should really give as many recommendations as you feel in your integrity to do, because this is a great way of giving something to your network that they didn't ask for. So if you want a tip, that is the best tip I can give you. Give recommendations to people. Beyond giving recommendations, you should also ask for them. Be bold and ask for them. I would suggest not to ask the same people you give them to, because it really looks like quid pro quo. And you don't necessarily want a quid pro quo. You really just want to add value to somebody who's added value to you, and that's why you give them. And then you ask for strategic ones. So you ask for the ones where you feel that it's quite important what they could have to say about you, depending on the type of role that you're looking for. So if you have a mixed background, so for example, if you have a background of finance and audit like I did, and maybe you want to go for an audit role next, you want to be strategic and ask for audit type feedback on your profile. When I was leaving my last job, for example, I asked everybody to give me change management type feedback, because that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to get into change management consulting, so I wanted change management feedback. I also wanted feedback on my human relationship skills, because I'm doing a lot of coaching with people. So you have to be strategic about what you ask for, but the ones that you give them generously regardless, right? So you can be strategic about who you give as well, in terms of, you know, where you want to go, the companies that you want to work for, etc. But I feel as if giving recommendations based on people you've actually worked with who've really added value to your life will be a point of gratitude that will pay you back, if you believe in karma. And the final point I wanted to talk about is engagement. So we mentioned at the top of this session about the headline, and that it's the first line that people see. Engagement is where this comes in. So I'm not telling you to just engage crazily on anyone's post, but I want you to think strategically about whose post you want to engage with. So you want to think about the person, and you also want to think about the topics. You want to be engaging on things that you are the authority on. So yesterday I talked about what you should be choosing as your authority set. You should have 3 main things as your authority. And when you're engaging with posts, you should be engaging with posts on things that you are the authority on, or that you are interested in becoming an authority on. And that's how you drive your engagement. One key tip for engagement is to make sure that the length of your comment, so if you're commenting on someone else's post, make sure the length of that comment is more than 10 words. So it sounds silly, but this is how the algorithm works at the moment. You know, the algorithms always change, but this is currently how the algorithm works. If you make a comment that's more than 10 characters, it's likely to be shown to more people. And this is also a way to build your authority. So That was LinkedIn 101. I have a great guide with an actual video in there that tells you a lot more about LinkedIn. I give LinkedIn away for free because I think it's a very easy platform. I figured it out. Anybody can figure it out. So this is why I give this for free. But I realize a lot of people don't know a lot of things about it. So it is in the group already, but I will post it on the back of this video so that you can have a download and a play with that as well. So that is my session for today. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask. I know everybody's shy, it's crazy. No one's asking me any questions on this session, but that's fine. As we go through the week, if you think of anything that you want to get some clarification on, drop me a DM. If you're not comfortable posting in the group, I'm fine with that. But just interact. And I'm going to give one offer. So for the first person to either DM me or comment on this video, I will give you a free LinkedIn review. So just send me a DM and I will give you a LinkedIn review and tell you what you can improve if you'd like. So that is my session for today. If anything, just hit me in the DMs and we will chat. See you soon. Bye.